Imagine the kind of shockwave that would hit the global auto industry when the CEO of Mercedes-Benz steps in front of the world and confirms that their most mysterious and talked about engine actually exists. Yes, the company has finally revealed the reality behind the YASA axial-flux electric motor, an engine that until now lived mostly in rumors, leaked discussions, and secret engineering circles. According to early reports, this motor is built on a completely different technology from traditional electric motors. And if the claims are true, it could deliver levels of power and efficiency that the automotive world has never seen before. Some experts believe this technology could even shake the dominance of major EV giants like Tesla, BYD, and Toyota. Just imagine for a moment. If this engine begins appearing in production cars, the entire game of petrol, diesel, and even existing electric vehicle batteries could change. But the real question is, what exactly makes this motor so special? Can it truly become the revolutionary breakthrough the automobile industry has been searching for over the last decade? Or is it just another futuristic promise that sounds impressive today but slowly fades away tomorrow? And if this technology really works the way engineers claim, could Tesla's EV dominance finally face its biggest threat yet? In this video, we're going to uncover the secrets behind this incredible technology and explore what it could mean for the future of transportation. So, stay with us until the end, because the real story behind this engine is far more surprising than you might think. And before we dive deeper, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss the next video where we reveal the technologies that are shaping the future of automobiles. Whenever a massive company unveils a groundbreaking technology to the world, it rarely happens overnight. Behind such innovations are usually years of quiet research, experimentation, and carefully planned strategies. The story behind the motor developed by Mercedes-Benz, the YASA axial-flux electric motor, is exactly like that. Many people assume this technology appeared suddenly, almost out of nowhere. But the truth is very different. For several years, Mercedes had been working silently on this project. There were no loud announcements, no flashy promises in the media. Instead, the company chose to develop the technology quietly behind the scenes. That silence was not accidental. It was part of a carefully designed strategy. To understand this plan, we need to go back in time. Between 2010 and 2015, the global automobile industry began experiencing a massive shift. Electric vehicles were no longer just experimental ideas. They were becoming a serious part of the future. Around that time, Tesla proved through its vehicles that EVs were not only viable but could also compete with traditional cars in performance and popularity. This moment forced many traditional car manufacturers to rethink their future. Mercedes realized something very important. If the company wanted to remain a leader in the coming decades, simply improving batteries would not be enough. The real revolution would also have to happen inside the motor itself. That realization led them to a small but highly innovative engineering company in the United Kingdom called YASA. YASA had already been experimenting with a completely different type of electric motor known as the axial-flux design. Early prototypes suggested that this concept could dramatically improve performance and efficiency. Mercedes immediately recognized the potential. Instead of making a big public announcement, the company slowly began supporting YASA's research efforts. Over time, their collaboration grew stronger. Then, in 2019, Mercedes made a decisive move. They acquired YASA entirely. From the outside, it looked like a routine corporate acquisition. But, in reality, it was one of the most critical steps in Mercedes' long-term technological strategy. This deal laid the foundation for what would eventually become the YASA Flux Engine. After the acquisition, Mercedes poured massive resources into the project. The company funded advanced research programs and supported large engineering teams dedicated to perfecting the technology. Over the next several years, hundreds of engineers worked relentlessly, and millions of dollars were invested to transform the experimental motor into something ready for real-world vehicles. What makes this story even more fascinating is the level of secrecy involved. The project remained so confidential that even many automotive analysts had no idea what Mercedes was building. Most people simply believed the company was focusing on producing luxury electric cars. But behind the scenes, Mercedes engineers were developing a motor that could potentially reshape the direction of the entire automobile industry. Another key element of this strategy was patience. Mercedes never rushed to reveal the technology. The company understood that launching an unfinished or underperforming product could damage its reputation, and rivals like Tesla or BYD would quickly criticize it. So instead, Mercedes spent years testing the motor thoroughly. Engineers ran thousands of hours of simulations and tested the system under countless real-world conditions. Only after they felt fully confident in the results did they finally decide to present the technology publicly. This approach reveals something interesting about Mercedes' mindset. In many ways, they learned from the strategies used by Tesla. Tesla often enters the market with bold announcements and huge publicity. Mercedes chose the opposite path: work quietly, perfect the product, and then reveal it at the right moment. Their philosophy can be summed up in a simple idea: say less, achieve more. Now, let's understand what this YASA Flux Engine actually is. Whenever we talk about cars, the most important component that comes to mind is the engine. For decades, petrol and diesel engines dominated the automotive world. Then, electric vehicles started replacing them. But today, the technology creating the most excitement is the YASA Flux Engine. Since Mercedes introduced it, discussions about this motor have spread across the global auto industry. But what exactly makes it so special? To understand this, let's break it down in very simple terms. YASA is the British engineering company that originally developed this motor technology before becoming part of Mercedes. The word flux refers to magnetic flow. Electric motors operate through the interaction between electricity and magnetic fields. Most traditional electric motors, like induction motors or permanent magnet motors, are large, cylindrical devices. They occupy significant space and add considerable weight to a vehicle. The YASA motor works differently. Its design is known as axial-flux. In a conventional motor, the internal components rotate in a cylindrical form. But an axial-flux motor operates more like a flat, rotating disc. Instead of being shaped like a thick cylinder, the motor resembles a thin circular plate. This design offers several huge advantages. Because of its structure, the motor can be significantly smaller and lighter, while still producing extremely high power. It requires less space inside the vehicle and improves overall efficiency. That is one reason Mercedes is promoting it as one of the most powerful electric motor technologies ever developed. Another key factor is torque. Torque is essentially the twisting force produced by the motor. A simple way to understand torque is by thinking about using a wrench to loosen a tight bolt. A longer wrench allows you to apply more turning force with less effort. The same principle applies to electric motors. The YASA Flux Engine produces extremely high torque almost instantly. While many motors take a short moment to build up speed, this design can deliver its full power immediately. This means a car equipped with this motor could accelerate incredibly fast, reaching speeds from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just seconds. Efficiency is another major advantage. In many electric motors, a significant amount of energy is lost as heat during operation. That wasted heat reduces the overall efficiency of the system. However, the design of the YASA axial-flux motor minimizes heat loss. Because less energy is wasted, more of the battery's power is used to actually move the vehicle. The result is greater driving range. In simple terms, if a standard electric car can travel around 400 kilometers on a single charge, a similar car using this technology could potentially reach 500 or even 550 kilometers without increasing the battery size at all. Another fascinating advantage of the YASA axial-flux electric motor is its versatility. Even though the motor is compact, it can be used in a wide range of vehicles. Whether it's a small hatchback, a family SUV, or even a high-performance sports car, this technology can adapt to all of them. Traditional electric motors are often bulky and heavy, which makes them difficult to install in certain types of vehicles. But this new design changes that completely. Because the motor is smaller and lighter, it gives manufacturers much greater flexibility in how they design their cars. Now, imagine the possibilities when automakers gain access to a motor that is compact, lightweight, and incredibly powerful. If the overall weight of the car decreases, the load on the battery also becomes smaller. This means the battery itself can be smaller, which can lower the production cost of the vehicle. At the same time, lighter cars are generally smoother to drive and feel more responsive on the road. That is why many experts believe this motor represents a glimpse of the future. While many electric vehicle companies around the world still rely on older motor technologies, Mercedes-Benz has sent a clear message with this innovation. The companies that survive in the coming years will be the ones willing to adopt bold and revolutionary technologies. The YASA motor can almost be thought of as the new heart of the modern electric vehicle. Even though it is smaller in size, it delivers far greater performance than many conventional motors. What truly sets it apart is its completely different design philosophy. It delivers higher power, improved efficiency, and requires far less space. The concept revolves around two fundamental forces: magnetic flux and torque. When these two elements work together efficiently, they create something remarkable. This is where the real magic of engineering begins. Whenever a new technology appears, the first question people ask is simple: what makes it different from everything that existed before? In the case of the YASA motor, the answer lies in its unique structural design. The motor operates using what engineers call an axial-flux architecture. Although the name may sound complicated, the idea is actually quite simple. Imagine two thin discs, similar in shape to a CD or DVD. Between these discs are coils of wire and powerful magnets. When electricity flows through the system, the discs begin rotating. That rotation generates the force needed to power the motor. Here's where the difference becomes clear. Most electric vehicles today use motors based on radial flux technology. In those motors, the magnets and coils are arranged around a cylindrical shape, and the energy flows outward from the center. But in the YASA design, everything is arranged in a flat disc-like configuration. Instead of being built around a cylinder, the magnetic flow travels along the axis of the motor. This seemingly simple change makes an enormous difference. One of the biggest advantages of the axial flux design is its compact size and reduced weight. Traditional motors require more space and are usually thick and heavy. The new motor, on the other hand, is thinner, lighter, and easier to integrate into different vehicle layouts. Because it occupies less space, manufacturers gain new possibilities. They could either install smaller batteries to reduce the overall cost of the vehicle, or use the extra space to add larger batteries and extend driving range. In other words, this technology gives car companies far more design freedom than before. Efficiency is another major benefit. In conventional electric motors, a significant portion of energy is lost as heat during operation. This wasted heat reduces efficiency and drains the battery faster. However, the axial flux design minimizes that loss. Its structure allows heat to dissipate more effectively, meaning less energy is wasted, and more of the battery's power is used to move the vehicle. The result is improved performance and longer driving range. For example, if a car equipped with a traditional motor can travel around 400 kilometers on a full charge, the same vehicle using this new motor technology could potentially reach more than 500 kilometers. This is why many experts are calling it a potential game changer for the future of electric vehicles. Another important factor is the motor's power-to-weight ratio. Traditional electric motors require larger magnets and more coils to produce high power, which makes them heavier. But the axial flux motor can generate similar or even greater power while remaining significantly lighter. In practical terms, a motor that previously weighed enough to produce 100 kilowatts of power could now be replaced by a lighter unit, producing the same performance while weighing far less. A lighter motor means a lighter vehicle overall. And when the vehicle becomes lighter, the battery experiences less strain, and the driving experience becomes smoother and more efficient. When Mercedes embraced this technology, the company's goal wasn't simply to increase power. Their larger ambition was to transform how the automotive industry thinks about electric motors. For years, manufacturers tried to improve performance by making motors bigger and more powerful. The YASA design challenges that assumption. It demonstrates that a motor can be smaller, lighter, and intelligently engineered, while still outperforming older technologies. Today, companies like Tesla, BYD, and many others continue to rely heavily on radial flux motor technology. While that technology has served the industry well for many years, the axial flux concept could represent the next major evolution. It's similar to the moment when smartphones replaced traditional button-based mobile phones. At first, people wondered what the big difference was, but once the advantages became clear, the entire industry shifted in that direction. The same transformation could happen here. The secret behind this motor's potential lies in its disc-shaped architecture, lighter weight, higher power, better efficiency, and minimal space requirements. When all these advantages come together, they create a technology that could define the next generation of electric vehicles. That's why the announcement from Mercedes has sent waves across the global auto industry. And now, we arrive at what could become the biggest technological rivalry in the electric vehicle world. If there is one company that dominates conversations about electric cars, it is Tesla. Under the leadership of Elon Musk, Tesla transformed electric vehicles from a niche idea into a global phenomenon. Today, Tesla cars remain among the most recognized and popular EVs in the world. But the arrival of Mercedes YASA motor has introduced a powerful new competitor. So, the real question is, how serious is this challenge? Tesla's vehicles primarily use permanent magnet motors and induction motors. These systems are powerful and reliable, but they are also relatively heavy and occupy more space. In contrast, the axial flux motor used by Mercedes is thinner, lighter, and capable of delivering exceptional power despite its compact size. Because of this difference, many analysts believe the industry may be approaching a turning point. Some even suggest that Tesla's current motor technology could soon start to look outdated if newer designs like this become widely adopted. And that is exactly why this development could become a major headache for Elon Musk. Tesla's greatest strengths have always been its battery innovation and advanced software systems. But if Mercedes successfully leads a revolution in motor technology, Tesla's technological advantage in the EV market could face its biggest test yet. If Mercedes-Benz decides to install this new motor not only in its luxury vehicles but also in its more affordable models, it could put serious pressure on Tesla. Suddenly, Tesla's reputation for speed, range, and efficiency might start facing tough questions. So, let's break it down by looking at speed, efficiency, and cost. Tesla cars are already famous for their lightning-fast acceleration from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. But the torque produced by the YASA axial-flux electric motor is so powerful that it could deliver the same acceleration even faster and with smoother performance. Efficiency is another key factor. Traditional EV motors, including those used in Tesla vehicles, lose some energy as heat during operation. The flux motor, however, is designed to reduce that loss, using electricity more effectively. That means better energy utilization and potentially longer battery range. When it comes to price, this technology will likely be expensive at first because it's still relatively new. But once Mercedes-Benz begins producing it at scale, manufacturing costs could drop significantly. And when that happens, competing with this technology may become much harder for companies like Tesla. Now, let's look at what this means for BYD and Toyota. Today, BYD holds the title of the world's largest EV manufacturer. Their well-known Blade battery created major buzz because of its improved safety and long lifespan. However, the real competition from the flux motor isn't in the battery, it's in the motor itself. If Mercedes combines this powerful motor with advanced battery systems, BYD's current advantage could slowly weaken. While their battery technology is impressive, their motor technology hasn't been as groundbreaking. That could leave BYD caught between two powerful competitors, Tesla on one side and Mercedes on the other. Now, consider Toyota. Compared to Tesla and BYD, Toyota has invested less aggressively in fully electric vehicles. Instead, the company has focused heavily on hybrids and hydrogen fuel technology. But if the flux motor truly becomes a revolutionary development, Toyota's hydrogen-focused strategy could fall behind. Hybrid vehicles are already starting to lose ground as EV technology advances. And if Mercedes begins delivering cars with greater power and longer range thanks to this motor, Toyota may eventually need to rethink its entire roadmap. Another important factor is brand perception. Mercedes has long been associated with luxury, reliability, and engineering excellence. If the company introduces this new motor into its lineup, many customers around the world will instantly see it as a premium and future-ready technology. Meanwhile, Tesla may need to upgrade its existing motor technology to stay competitive. Otherwise, it risks gradually losing its edge. This means the rivalry between Tesla and Mercedes is no longer just about batteries or software innovation. It has now moved into a completely new battlefield, motor technology. And that competition will also create serious pressure for BYD and Toyota. BYD may need to accelerate development of more advanced motors, while Toyota will have to reconsider whether hydrogen truly represents the long-term future, or whether it must also step into this new flux motor revolution. Because the YASA Flux motor isn't simply another technological improvement, it has the potential to shift the balance of power across the entire automotive industry. Tesla will need bold new strategies to protect its leadership. BYD may have to push deeper into motor innovation, and Toyota will have to decide whether to double down on hydrogen or join this new era of electric performance. Now, let's talk about performance itself. When people think about a car's true identity, the first things that usually come to mind are speed and horsepower. The faster a vehicle moves, the more powerful and advanced its technology appears. And this is exactly where Mercedes' new YASA Flux motor could redefine the rules of the game. Its strength isn't just theoretical numbers on paper. It's the real-world performance drivers experience on the road. To start with, consider acceleration and horsepower. Standard electric motors already provide strong pickup and respectable speed. For example, if an EV can reach 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in about 6 seconds, it's generally considered impressive. But the YASA Flux motor could push those limits even further. Because the motor is lightweight yet extremely powerful, it delivers a higher power-to-weight ratio. When a vehicle carries less weight but produces greater output, it can accelerate much more easily and efficiently. This advantage directly improves horsepower performance. In fact, the Flux motor can deliver the power of a much larger motor while occupying significantly less space, and that's what makes it such a potential game changer. Next comes torque, the real pulling force of a vehicle. Think of it like tightening a bolt with a wrench. A small wrench requires more effort, but a larger one lets you apply force more easily. Torque works in a similar way for vehicles. The unique feature of the YASA Flux motor is that it produces extremely high torque almost instantly. The moment the driver presses the accelerator, the car responds with full force. In many traditional motors, torque builds gradually, which means the vehicle takes a moment to reach peak power. But with a flux motor, the power delivery feels immediate and explosive. That's why a car equipped with this technology could perform like a true sports car. Whether navigating busy city streets or cruising on a long highway, the driving experience would feel quick, responsive, and incredibly smooth. Finally, let's talk about one of the biggest concerns for EV owners: range. Many drivers worry about how long their battery will last and how quickly it will drain. The YASA Flux motor could significantly reduce that concern. Its advanced design minimizes energy losses. In conventional electric motors, a portion of electricity is wasted as heat, but the Flux motor converts more of that energy directly into motion. The result? Improved efficiency and extended driving range. For example, if a standard electric car typically travels around 400 kilometers on a full charge, the same vehicle equipped with a flux motor might push that range to 500 or even 550 kilometers. And that kind of improvement could completely change how people think about electric vehicles. This difference is actually huge because in the EV industry, even an extra 100 kilometers of range can give a company a major advantage in the market. Better efficiency also means less stress on the battery. When the motor uses electricity more effectively, the battery doesn't have to work as hard. This helps extend battery life and reduces how often the car needs charging. In the long run, that means lower charging costs and less maintenance for the user. But performance isn't just about racing. In everyday driving, the YASA axial-flux electric motor also brings noticeable improvements: faster pickup, smoother driving, longer range, and greater reliability. All these factors together push the vehicle to a completely new level. That's why many experts believe this technology from Mercedes-Benz could set a new benchmark in the automotive world. This also means companies like Tesla and BYD will need to focus not only on batteries but also on advanced motor technology. In the future, customers will mainly care about three questions: how far the car can go, how fast it can perform, and how much money it can save. Right now, the YASA Flux motor seems to offer strong answers to all three. And whenever a powerful new technology appears, its impact goes far beyond just one company. It can shake the entire global market. After the announcement of this motor, global attention quickly turned toward Mercedes. Investors became more confident in the company, and the stock market reacted positively. At the same time, investors in rival EV companies started watching closely, wondering if this could become the next big breakthrough. In the car market, Mercedes already has a strong reputation for luxury and reliability in Europe and America. If vehicles with this motor begin hitting the roads, many buyers may be drawn to the brand not just for prestige, but also for improved performance and range. This could create strong competition for companies like Tesla and even BMW. In China, EV giants like BYD and NIO dominate the market. But if Mercedes eventually reduces the cost of this technology and brings it to more affordable EVs, it could challenge their position as well. Even in emerging markets like India, where the EV industry is still developing, this technology could spark more interest in electric vehicles. Although such cars might start as expensive options, people may gradually shift toward them for better range, power, and reliability. Beyond the car industry, this innovation could also influence global energy trends. As EV technology becomes more efficient, the demand for petrol and diesel could decline even faster. Oil-dependent economies may feel the pressure, while countries involved in battery materials could benefit. Government policies may also evolve. Many regions already support EV adoption, but technologies like the Flux motor could push governments to introduce stricter rules for petrol cars and offer more incentives for advanced electric vehicles. And perhaps the biggest change will happen in consumer thinking. Until now, most EV discussions focused on battery capacity and charging speed. But in the future, people may start asking a different question. Which motor technology does the car use, flux or traditional radial motors? And that shift could completely reshape the EV market. It's clear that Mercedes-Benz's new YASA axial-flux electric motor is not just another car component. It could shake the entire global auto market. This technology could influence investor confidence, change how customers choose cars, reshape vehicle design, and even affect future energy policies. Companies that adapt to this shift may thrive, while those that ignore it could slowly fall behind. However, the big question is whether this technology will reach everyday drivers or remain limited to expensive luxury vehicles. For now, the Flux motor will likely appear first in high-end and performance cars because the production cost is still very high. But as manufacturing expands and research costs are recovered, this technology could eventually move into more affordable vehicles. Producing this motor also comes with major challenges. Axial flux motors require extremely precise magnets and coils, making large-scale production difficult. Another challenge is raw materials, especially rare earth elements like neodymium, which are mostly supplied by only a few countries. If demand increases, shortages could push prices even higher. At the moment, Mercedes plans to introduce this motor in performance vehicles such as its AMG lineup. It could also benefit SUVs by delivering stronger torque despite heavy weight. And it may even compete with high-performance EVs, like the Tesla Model S Plaid. In the future, this technology could also transform trucks and commercial vehicles by providing more power and longer range. Looking ahead to the next decade, many experts believe axial flux motors could become a new standard for the EV industry, just like lithium-ion batteries are today. Within 7 to 8 years, even affordable electric cars might use this technology. But the real test will come when these motors reach everyday vehicles and prove themselves on real roads. Only then will we know if this innovation truly changes the future of electric vehicles or becomes just another big promise.